Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of the Storm and a Teacup podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Sam, joined by my other co-host, Charlie.
I am Charlie.
And we have quite a fair bit to talk about, including an interview later on in the episode, so you'll want to stick around for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to start, as we always do, with our weekly Teacup, where we just tell everyone a bit about what we've done in the last week, just because we feel like that's what you'd kind of do with friends. You just kind of like catch up. So we always try to do that to make you feel like the third podcast member. So, do you want to go first, Charlie, or me?
I honestly don't mind. I feel you've introduced it, so you decide who goes first.
Let's say you go first. Why not?
All right. I've had one of those weeks where I've done little bits of stuff, but I've not really had like a majorly eventful week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one thing that I can talk about is, not too long ago. I can't remember what day exactly. Obviously it was my birthday last week. One of my friends, Chloe, and I know she's watching this. I hope so. She has been going on for a while that she's got me like a birthday gift that she knows I'm going to love, and she got me this. I'm holding up to the camera now. It is a. I want to make sure it gets in focus. It's a camera lens mug, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a travel mug, so the top of it I haven't got on at the moment because I'm obviously drinking it. It's the front elements of the glass, and it acts as like a thermal flask, so it keeps my drink warm. And it's got one of those suction things at the bottom, which makes it like really hard to knock over. You can't knock it over by accident. But yeah, I love it, and I'm drinking my black coffee out of it for today's episode. I'll leave it there to cool down.
See, just as proof as well that you really like it. Charlie told me about this, I think, a day or two ago. So he's not just saying it for the podcast, and it's like news to me. Like, it's actually a gift that he appreciates. So Chloe, if you're watching, he likes it. He's not just saying it for the episode.
I usually have like a morning drink. It's usually like a black coffee, or sometimes it might even just be like water. Well, I have water every morning, but I'll either have like a couple glasses of water or a black coffee. I'm pretty sure every day since I've got this mug, I've used it to have my morning drinking. I usually have my black coffee in it now, just because I genuinely love it. I used to have one, but I left it at my mum's when I moved out. What else have I been up to this week? Intense fortnighting with Sam. Yeah. I mean, we haven't been on as much as we were the like week before or the week before that, but again, just chilling out, playing Fortnite with the boy.
I can think of something that you've done.
What have I done?
If you need like a little reminder.
Go on.
But we did that pub quiz yesterday, I think.
Yeah. So, there is a page on Facebook called Virtual Pub Quiz, and this guy has been doing these pub quiz style quizzes since lockdown. His aim of it is to get the world record for the most attendees in an online virtual quiz, and had been asking for me and her to do it for ever since it started, really, and we just kept forgetting. And I was with her yesterday when we were going shopping, I think, and it was just before we went shopping, and she said, "Oh yeah, this is happening. Should we do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she asked if Sam wanted to do it, and we were like, "Yeah," you know. Asked Sam was all down for it, and we made the rule that whoever got the least amount of points in the quiz has to get the first round of drinks when all this lockdown stuff is over and the pubs are back open. So unfortunately for Sam, it is his responsibility. Sam, to be fair, some of the questions in it were a bit mad, like, but I got 25, Hat got 24, and I can't remember what Sam got, but it
19.
was 19. So it's Sam's first round when we all go drinking. So
That quiz
yeah.
was rigged, man. It was fixed.
Other than that, it's just been polishing off uni work, really. I've got one more assignment due in. I want to say the 18th of May. It's in a couple of weeks, I know that, and that is literally it. That's my final assignment done, and I mean, I doubt I'll have to retake anything. But yeah, that'll be it for uni. One other thing that happened today, um, it isn't for me, but I'm wearing a little badge here today, and it says I support a superhero carer, because Harriet's a carer, and she only did just go and bag herself Employee of the Month, for last month.
That's sick, man.
Yeah, she got a call yesterday from someone or a message from like one of the girls in the office, and she asked Hat if she could go in tomorrow, meaning today, because they need to see her, and Hat was a bit like, oh, I hope it's not anything bad, and the girl in the office was like, oh no, it's nothing bad, and yeah, Hat wandered in and got Employee of the Month. Funny thing about it was the last place that she worked at, she was planning on leaving, and she was gonna hand her notice in on the Friday, and I think the person she was meant to hand it into wasn't in on the Friday, so she couldn't. Then on Saturday, she got told that she was Employee of the Month that month. On the Sunday, they did this like raffle thing for the people at the care home, and she won a big bottle of champagne. And then Monday, she handed her notice in.
Wow.
So she just had like the best weekend, and then boom, handed her notice in, and she left on a high. So I said to her, "Oh, you're not gonna hand in your notice in for this one, are you? Now that you got Employee of the Month?" And she's like, "No, I like it here." But
I'm
yeah.
quite curious about something.
What's up?
Do you know how they like judge that? Because it's like private care, isn't it? So they're not really in like a like a social environment. So is it like word of mouth or?
I think it's a mixture of like word of mouth and just what Hat's doing, because where Hat goes to, she goes to people, and sometimes they'll have family there, sometimes they won't have family there. Sometimes the people she goes to, are like, I don't want to say like completely fine in their ability, but they just need that extra bit of care. But in terms of like mentally, they're completely sound, so they can ring up the office and say like, oh, this carer is doing an amazing job, or this carer is not doing the best job, I don't want them here. And I'm pretty sure that Hat's just been getting praise from the people she's going to see, the people who need the care. Also, there's these things called double ups. So a person that needs a bit more care than someone else, you'll have two of the carers go, to help do some of the stuff, to help manage the call, because the Hat and the carers, they only get like a certain amount of time to do a load of jobs for this person, so sometimes it's better to just have two people there than one. So she might have got praise from the person she's doing the double up with, as well as that, because of the whole thing that's been going on with the Peroni flu, other branches have needed people to come and step in and go to the clients in different branches, because the way Harriet's office works is Harriet works within like a 16-mile radius of where she lives, but she's had calls up from the Coventry branch asking if she could do some calls over in Coventry, and she was like, yeah, I'll do it. So she's been travelling to Coventry to do some calls there just to help them out, and yeah, her hard work has been recognised. So I was very happy when she came in earlier today and was like, I got Employee of the Month. I was very, very proud.
Yeah, that's insane, man.
Yeah, I was very happy for her. But other than that, I can't really think of anything else I've done apart from sleep, eat, go out shopping for 3 different households, repeat. That's about it, really.
So I guess that means it's my turn to start talking.
Go for it.
We've been over a couple of things that I've done because of quarantine. We're doing a lot of things like together, like Fortnite and that quiz.
Yeah.
Because we're like stuck at home, we don't have plans. But I think it was the lockdown getting to me. But I'm not 100%. But I had a funny night like 3 days ago, I think.
I'm really sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah, no
after you've
problem.
told this, I need to tell you something. I had a really weird dream last night, and it's just reminded me of it. I don't know why it's reminded me of it, but it just has. But I'll let you carry on.
Do you want to talk about that now? I can wait if you want.
No, you started. I'll let you finish.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think it was like three days ago. But I felt like the best way I can describe it is like creatively like unfulfilled, basically. Like Charlie and I really love doing this podcast, but I couldn't help feeling really like we're capable of like so much more. And the only problem with that is that we can't really deliver more because of lockdown. Because like all the ideas that I was having involved like going outside and talking to people and doing stuff that would mean I have to break quarantine, which I'm obviously not going to do. So yeah, weird night. Another thing I said to Charlie, and I think I'm not 100%, but I think it might have upset you a bit because I wasn't sure if you knew what I meant. But I said to him like I didn't want to be like how do I
Overly
phrase it again?
linked.
I didn't want to be overly associated with you, so I didn't want, if Charlie and I tried to make something on our own, people to be like, oh, that's cute, he's trying to break away from Charlie or Sam or whatever, and get comments like, where's Sam, where's Charlie? Like I do want us to be able to have that freedom to have like our own fan bases and then be able to tell them as well that like, oh yeah, have a podcast, and then the fans be like, who's this Sam dude, who's this Charlie dude, and then have a whole different audience. But yeah, I feel like something where I have like 100% creative control would be quite nice. And yeah, no, I just like I feel like we can and want to do more, but we just really can't right now. I think that just kind of got to me.
First off, don't worry, it didn't upset me.
Okay.
Because I completely get it, because the way that I look at stuff like that is this podcast is going out on YouTube, like it isn't going anywhere else at the moment. And the podcasts that I see on YouTube often do come from people that have other channels. The one that I don't want to say I've been watching loads recently, but the one that I keep seeing popping up and I will like turn on every now and then, my exposure's gone really high, is the Sidemen podcast, because they obviously do Sidemen Sundays where they upload a video every single Sunday, but they can't do the videos that they had planned because of the whole quarantine thing, so they're doing podcasts. Each one of those members has a channel with over 1 million subscribers. Even stuff like the True Geordie, he didn't start off just doing podcasts. He started off doing pieces to camera, but he didn't start off with a podcast, and now he just so happens, to do a lot of podcasts, a pretty successful podcast, same as Mini Minters. But I totally agree with like having something that you're in creative control over completely. 'Cause, I mean, I want to be a director, like that is creative control to the max, like but I'm basically in a similar position to you, where a lot of the stuff that I maybe would go out and do involves me going out. There's stuff that I've tinkered about in my head, thinking like, maybe I could start doing videos on this or start doing videos on that, and it's just having the time and having the ability to make it stand out from others, because I know that me and you have had like hour-long conversations about YouTube about if one of us was to upload a video about FIFA and it's like an amazing video. If you uploaded a video about FIFA and someone like KSI uploaded a video about FIFA and yours was first on the search engine, then it was his, who are people going to click? And it's building up that fan base to get it to click, and it's something that I've thought about quite a bit. But no, I completely get it. But I think it's good not that you're feeling creatively unfulfilled, but that you've got this creative drive right now. Because I think that's something that, because I've seen how like invested you get into something when you've got that creative passion for it, and it comes out looking like great. And I feel like ever since we stopped going to the studio, there hasn't been as much of that there. But ever since we started the podcast, you've been on it, like everything is, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to sort out an intro, we need to get guests on, I'm going to email guests, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And like that's the Sam that I remember doing stuff for film and media studies in sixth form. And it's like, you know, I know that you don't necessarily like your A2 media game trailer, but I thought it was sick. I loved it. I thought that was like one of my favourite things to watch out of everyone's. I loved it. And it's not just because it had a cameo of me, which made it what it was. But, you know,
Literal silhouette of you.
Yeah. But no, I think this creative unfulfillment can be turned into a creative drive to get rid of that. Because this is the thing, when you first said that you were feeling creatively unfulfilled, what that said to me first was that you want to be creative, and once you are, it's going to stop there. Because, like, you know, once you fulfill your creative needs, it's going to stop. But I don't think it's going to be like that. And that's why I was saying to you when you did message that from where I'm sat, it doesn't seem like you're creatively unfulfilled. It seems like you're creatively driven to do something creative, because it's like, I don't see, like, if you were to start your solo YouTube channel, I don't see you stopping. I see you, like, carrying on and on and on. Whereas, like, when you first said creatively unfulfilled, I thought you meant, like, once you have a couple YouTube videos out and you've had your creative, like, burst and that's it. But no, I think you should use this time in lockdown and this creative drive that you've got to just smash something sick out like you did with A2 Media. Like, go for it, bro.
That was a really nice pep talk.
It's true that, and like, I know you said that you want creative control over it, but if you need a hand with anything, just let me know. Like,
see, I was going to speak on that actually, because I feel like that might spawn a few misconceptions. It's not like I don't mind, like, you know, trading ideas and like not getting my own way when it comes to like things we do on the podcast 100% of the time. But you know, just having something where, you know, I call the shots 100% of the time will be nice, but I definitely don't have a problem like compromise or anything, and that's what Charlie does as well. Like, we talk about the podcast before we do it, decide what we're going to talk about, and that's fine, and most of the time we completely agree, but there have been times where, like, we think something's not such a great idea, and it's not even that, like, we dislike that, it's more like, thanks for showing me, it's going to sound super hipster or something, but it's like, thanks for showing me, like, your point of view.
Yeah.
Because then it, like, makes you think about it differently.
I completely agree, because, like, I've worked with some people that won't compromise on anything, and, like, it's safe to say that I'll never work with those people again, because, like, as much as being in creative control, I love having it. I love having other people's opinions, because there's going to be stuff that you think about that I would have never thought about. And, like, if you're trying to make something not even successful, if you're trying to make something that is a good creative project, you need, even if it's just one person to bounce off creatively. Like, short films that are made by one person and solely one person, they're good. But short films that are made by one person who spent years and years and years talking to other people about it, getting other people to read his script, getting other people to help out with camera work, they are what win the awards. You know what I mean? I think compromises, because I feel like when people say compromise, you either get two sides of it. You get the people that are like, oh yeah, that's good creatively, and people that have too much pride and they feel like compromise is giving up their creativeness in the idea. And I think it's good that both of us aren't in that negative mindset. We're both willing to compromise.
See, and that's exactly the kind of stuff I put on like job applications and stuff. The fact that I've like done drama, and it really like makes me like available, and open to the idea of like I'm not right 100% of the time. Like someone is gonna have a better idea than me, and that only really means that if we combine all our ideas, we're gonna get the best possible product we can make. Whether it's a work day or a creative piece, if it's anything else like a sport, I don't know. But yeah, collaboration, it's just gonna bring great things. But
I mean, even just down to the name of this podcast, Hat said, "Why don't you do it as something like Much Ado About Nothing?" And then from that, you googled synonyms of that and found A Storm in a Teacup. It just so happened that I was brainstorming ideas of the name. I said some to you, you said some to me, all of them were taken. I said, "What do you think?" to Hat. Hat said, "What about this?" And it came from there. Like, it's all about, like I said, collaborating.
And if it wasn't for her, we probably wouldn't have landed on the name like at all.
No.
Because it's an expression that I've never heard before.
It's one that I've heard of, but it never crossed my mind when I was thinking of a name for a podcast.
So I don't even know the kind of people that use it, because it sounds like a bit like older. Like 30 plus, 40 plus maybe.
She is an older lady.
Not that old.
Wow.
But I think the best way I can describe not wanting to be overly attached, at least for the English viewers, I'm not sure what the American equivalent is, but like Ant and Dec, like they are known pretty much exclusively for being like a pair.
Yeah.
And a couple of seasons ago, because they host a show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, but it's in different countries, so I'm sure you know about it. If you're watching from anywhere other than England. Basically, the one Ant went to rehab, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So Dec had to host it with somebody else, and it just like wasn't really like the same. So best case scenario for me would be that Charlie and I are like really good alone and as a pair at the same time. Because I know that. I guess here comes your little bit of a pep talk, but you're like super talented, and I'm sure that you can make like really awesome stuff on your own. And I don't want to like stop you doing that, just because I want us to like only make things together or anything. And I think you look at it the same way with me. Like the more we can create, the better, really. As long as it's as long as we're trying.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
I did, actually. Because like I said, that happened in the night, but I had a panic attack after that, so that was fun.
Oh, shit.
It was something that we've spoken about, not on the podcast, but to each other about before. But probably not this episode, because it's quite a long one. But you just cursed them, by the way, so you've just given yourself a job.
It was worth it. Yeah.
But no, that wasn't a fun night. But feeling much better now. I think it was just that one like little slump. But I've still got the same attitude about like wanting to create more. I'm just feeling like more. I'm feeling better. I'm not feeling so like down. So that's good.
Well, it sounds like we're coming to like the end of this. So while you finish it off, I'm gonna restart my camera because we're on 27 minutes.
I'm pretty sure it's the end of it. But all I'll really say, apart from that, Charlie can't hear me right now, I don't think.
Oh, no, I can.
Oh, okay. Is that, like, keep an eye out, because me and or Charlie might make stuff on our own, like, real soon. So, yeah, we might throw something out there.
Yeah. I mean, not to give too much away, but there's a YouTuber that I've watched for a few years now, and he spent like 7 years working on a short film, and he released a short. You know what? It was actually pretty good. It was a bit out there, but I liked it. He released a short film, and he released a documentary of the making of the short film. And like I learned so much from that documentary, from how he did it to how to source actors to even just some new stuff about film festivals. And he uploaded a video recently, and it was just looking around like his office, which he always does his YouTube videos in, and he just has a shelf, and there's 9 awards on there for his short film,
Wow.
and I just thought to myself like I want one, like I want one, so it may be a little side hustle of mine that I may look into making a short film and entering into some film festivals.
Well, you're gonna need a big shelf because they got those subscriber plaques coming
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
100 million subscribers. I can already smell it. I think I was gonna say something, but I can't remember. Oh, yeah. I'm really glad that we like spoke about this because I was thinking like while we're like real like open and honest on the podcast, we've never really spoken about like anything like yeah, I'd call it negative. Like we've never really said like I've been a bit down. So the fact that we're able to like talk about something like real and like from the heart and stuff, that's I really appreciate that because it's more it's deeper than we've gotten before. So
I get that.
like I said, though, I do love the podcast and I want to keep doing it. I just want to do other things as well as the podcast.
I feel like the podcast is like a safe space for both myself and you to just talk about anything we want, and anything we don't want we don't have to talk about. Like if I was feeling down, I know that I could come onto the podcast and talk about it, but at the same time I could just say on the podcast, oh yeah, I had a bit of a down week this week. I just don't really want to talk about it. And like this isn't one of those things where we're going to pressure each other to talk about stuff just because it might get views or might get attention. Like if I had like a really down week and I said to you like privately, oh yeah, I felt really down, I spent the night crying myself to sleep, blah blah blah. I know you're not going to turn around and be like, that's going to make some great content, we need to talk about that on the podcast. Like, but at the same time, I know if I wanted to, I could just be like, so this happened this week and I felt really bad about it, and yeah.
I think the last thing I'll say on that is like I said, while I love the podcast, I think that an annoyance that you have as well is how much lockdowns like restricting how good the content can be.
Yeah.
Because we've spoken about it away from the podcast, we might have mentioned it on the podcast, but as soon as lockdown's over and we can like record episodes in person, everything is going to get better. Like the quality of the episodes, like how much we can bounce off each other, how easy it is to edit. Interviewing people will be a lot easier. Just like anything you can think of will be better and easier.
Yeah.
So lockdown is real annoying and frustrating right now, but as we've said before, it's for a really good reason. So keep doing it, keep in there, and we'll do the same.
The thing that I was going to speak about, my weird dream, right, was I literally dreamt about it last night. We were at mine, and obviously I've shown you around the flat. You've seen what mine and Hat's room's like. I don't know how much you remember it, but obviously the bed's in the middle of the room, and we've got the chest of drawers at the end of the bed with the TV on. I always put my camera there. So my camera was there, and I had like a really wide angle lens, and we were filming the podcast, but it almost seemed like you were drunk, and like you were just all over the place. You weren't on the bed, you were in and out of the room, and I had my headphones on recording into my laptop, and you were recording into an audio recorder that had a USB plugged into it for a power bank to power it for some reason, and then you like flopped on the bed, and you were like, oh no, my audio recorder, and you started crying, and I was like, what's the matter? And you had pulled the what's it called, the power bank out of it, and you're like, I've lost all the audio, I've lost it all. I was like, bro, it's still recording because it had batteries in the back of it. And I don't know. I don't know if it's meant to mean anything. I don't know, like what. But yeah, it was. I woke up and I was a bit like, I hope that's not how the podcast is gonna run when we can meet up after lockdown. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like something I'd do. Yeah, no. You're a crazy person
yeah,
for
it's a
thinking of that.
strange one. But what else has been happening in the week of Sam?
I think that is everything. But I did see, and we'll talk about this now. And you've seen it as well, I'm pretty sure. The UFO video that was released by the Pentagon. The 3 videos actually, but they've all been like put together and like all been shown at once.
Yeah.
And like just a short little backstory. But when it comes to like anything like supernatural or paranormal, I wanna like believe it, but I'm always the first to like say like how it's not real. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I've been waiting basically for like undeniable proof of like anything like that, and it's part of the reason I'm like agnostic, just because like I don't have proof either way, so I just kind of like sit in the middle.
Yeah.
But because it was released by the Pentagon, you know, I think that instantly takes away any possibility of it like being faked, because it's like the government. But the only thing I could really sit and do was like theorize about what it actually is, which is what I normally do anyway.
Yeah.
And normally, you know, I can have a theory and run with it, but this time was quite different because I had no clue what it was, and I guess that's why they call it unidentified. It's unidentifiable. So I don't know what you have to say about it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was very excited when I saw it. As like I mentioned in the last episode, like space, anything interstellar, anything out there, I love. I can't get enough of it. And I remember one of the first conversations I had when I got into uni was with one of my friends, and we were speaking about like what we did at A levels and GCSE. And when I said astronomy, she said to me, she's like, "Oh, do you believe in aliens and stuff then?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, so you think there's some out there?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And she was just like, "Oh, but how can you be so sure?" And I was like, "You know, there's just some stuff surrounding it." And she was like, "Oh yeah, like what?" And I just busted out this thing called the Drake equation, and this is like one of my favorite things that I learned in astronomy. One, because it's called the Drake equation.
I don't like Drake.
I don't like Drake, but I just like the fact it's just called the Drake equation. Because whenever you say it, someone's like, "Oh, you're going to speak about a rapper from Canada." No, bro. I'm going to speak about how many intelligent life forms that could make contact with us could be out there. And it's basically this long equation where it's just letters. I've just pulled it up because I always remember... I remember the first part, but never the last part. So, you know in science when you get the front piece of paper that reminds you of a load of equations in science exam papers?
Yeah.
We didn't get that in astronomy. We had to like, if we were going to use the Drake equation, it was either written in the exam paper or we had to memorize it. So the equation is N equals R times Fs times Fp times Ne times Fl times Fi times Fc times L.
All I understood from that was N.
So it's basically, I'm like a proper nerd right now because I absolutely love this. But
You're geeking out.
I am because I remember doing it. I remember getting taught this in astronomy, and I was just like, I love it. So R is the average rate of a star formation. You times that by Fs, which is the fraction of good stars to have planetary systems. So that's a star like the sun, which can develop a solar system around it. Then it's times... Oh, they've missed one out, actually. They've missed out Fp. Where is...
What's FP?
Fp Yeah, oh no, FP is the planetary system, so FS is the fraction of good stars, and that's times by the fraction of good stars to develop a planetary system. Um, and then you get to NE, which is the average number of habitable planets per star. So planets like Earth. Then you get to FL, which is the fraction of habitable planets where life emerges, times Fi, which is the fraction of habitable planets where life becomes intelligent and evolves. Fe, which is the fraction of planets with intelligent life capable of interstellar communication. And then L is the years civilization remains detectable. And there's like actual numbers for this, and there's been like an estimated number. I can't remember it off the top of my head, and it will take some digging to find. But yeah, it's just like when I saw that equation that there was numbers to back it up, I was just like, you know, we're one solar system in one galaxy. Like, imagine how many other solar systems there are. I mean, you see how many stars there are in the sky. You're telling me that not one of those stars has a solar system with a planet just like Earth where it can develop intelligent life that could communicate interstellarly. Like, so, you know, when I saw that of the videos, I was just like, you know, this is something that I've thought about since I was like tiny, about aliens and stuff like that. And I was just like, I just want to know more, to be honest with you. Like, excuse me, do you remember that whole storm in Area 51?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I want to go storm it, and I want to go find them aliens. I want it, I want to know. Like, I do.
I think there's a theory that's why JFK like met the fate that he did, just because he like wanted to like kind of talk about everything.
Yeah.
He wanted to like whistleblow the whole thing. But that's just a theory, so don't take it as fact or anything. But I think me looking at it as stone-headed, small brain, like the universe is like obviously a lot bigger than we can like even understand. So thinking that with the only intelligent life forms or just life forms in general in the whole universe, it's just really naive to me. And I don't think you can say confidently, like, yeah, there's nothing out there. It's just us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, what do you have to back that up, really? Have you gone to, you know, every corner of the universe and, like, seen what they've got? No one has. Because we can't. Because it's too big.
Exactly. Putting it in perspective, like, we're one solar system in a galaxy. Our galaxy is grouped into a group of galaxies which makes up a cluster. That cluster is clustered up with other clusters to make the Virgo supercluster. The Virgo supercluster is a cluster of clusters of galaxies, and that's just one. And there's like, I can't remember how many galaxies there are in a cluster, let alone a supercluster. But how can you tell me that there is one solar system in one galaxy out of Lord knows how many superclusters of galaxies that holds intelligent life? Like, because, you know, I remember I read it on like a YouTube comment from I think Vsauce, because they were talking about it. Someone said, oh well, you know, if we can't detect life out there and we can't travel through space like how all these, and it was in quote, aliens can, then they obviously can't. I was like, bro, because we're the most intelligent life that we know, but what if there is a life out there that is more intelligent than us, that is more advanced than us, and they can do interstellar travel? Like,
So yeah, I found out the other day that like we put like a radio wave or something out into the universe and like a bunch of like images on it.
Yeah.
And like the first few were like things you'd like expect, like math equations, like pictures of the Earth and stuff. And then they just started posting strange things like selfies and like pictures of sports and stuff. Like, I don't get what the plan was there. But back on topic. That was a little tangent from me. Apologies. But I think if the video is released by anyone else, because it's like declassified from the Pentagon, they've not just like it's not just been leaked supposedly. It's like if I saw it from any other like uploader, I'd be like, alright, cool, nice special effects kind of thing. But because it's the government, I really can't see him, you know, making up aliens. If anything, I could see him like downplaying and be like, oh yeah, it's just a military plane or something.
Yeah,
because it's happened before where people have supposedly seen things and they've said something along those lines.
I mean,
but because it's the government, like I said, I can't see him faking anything like that.
I totally agree. I know it's a bit off topic. Two things actually. One, the other day an asteroid went by Earth and it was classified as a near miss because it could have hit into Earth. It was fairly big. I'm pretty sure it could have done some substantial damage if it hit. But and there's been
just based out of empathy that it missed. It was like, oh, this planet's bad enough as is.
Yeah.
I'll leave it. Everyone's quarantined. I'll just hit someone else.
Something's literally just popped up on my phone from Twitter. Look up at to the stars for International Space Day. So how funny is that?
Oh wow!
We're literally talking about it as International Space Day. But the other thing I was going to mention is when you were speaking about the radio waves and stuff like that we've sent out into space. Again, I'm pretty sure it was from a Vsauce YouTube video.
I think I know what you might say, actually.
One of the first things that got broadcasted into space was one of Hitler's speeches, because of the radio waves being used and how many speakers were being used as he was speaking. I think it said that it had the capacity to be a wave that could travel through the atmosphere and go to space.
That's not good.
Yeah.
The last thing we need is a bunch of fascist aliens coming to Earth.
But, I can't remember what video it was. I mean, I might even try and find it and link it in the description, to be honest, because some of the stuff they speak about is very, very interesting, and that was one of the very interesting videos that I've watched, but it was years and years ago.
If we're talking about linking videos in the description, I would say that for anyone that hasn't watched it, that we should link the alien or UFO videos in the description as well. Definitely. But yeah, it's crazy, absolutely insane that we might have seen aliens. Because one was from 2004, two from 2015. So the fact that the government saw aliens nearly 20 years ago and still don't know what it was. Is quite insane.
Well, I've got a question for you. If an alien popped up on your doorstep or like teleported into your room right now, what would be the first thing that you would say to it?
Yo, my man, how you doing, my dude? Come sit on my bed. Let's play Fortnite, bro.
Fair enough.
Have a cold one, my guy. Have one of these, my dude. There you go. That'd be what I say.
Fair enough.
What about you, I guess? Same thing.
Similar. I'd be like, who's better, Michael Jordan, LeBron, or Kobe? And their answer determines if they live or not.
And the alien would respond in like alien talk, like beeps and boops, and you'd be like,
Kobe.
Will Chamberlain, cool.
No, I know this is again a complete tangent, but I've screenshotted this just to show it, and I'll tell you. I don't know how true it is. I've never seen this quote before, but apparently Wilt Chamberlain once told Michael Jordan on the GOAT debate. For anyone that doesn't know, GOAT stands for greatest of all time. The difference between you and me is that they had to change the rules so I couldn't dominate. They changed the rules so you could.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. The comments were lethal. They were saying that Wilt was just playing with 5'6" male men and plumbers, and that the only reason they changed it was because he was, quote, dominating by goaltending. But yeah, I was just like, oof.
There are literally hundreds and thousands of Wilt Chamberlain stories out there, but I think that man is an alien. But on goaltending, just a short Wilt Chamberlain story. I know that one time he blocked a shot and he got called for goaltending, but only because the referee didn't think that a person could jump that high. So he thought he must have committed a foul. And I think he was jumping higher than American Olympic high jumpers as well at that time. So yeah, that dude was crazy.
I was just gonna say my fun NBA fact of the day was for 23 games. Dennis Rodman played for the Lakers in 1999.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I remember finding that out and having to Google image search him.
No.
But I feel like we should move on to move back to Earth and someone that's doing really good things for it. We spoke last week to the Skip and Seek, and this week we had the pleasure of talking to Samren Reddy, who is somebody whose mum actually reached out to us to talk about his fundraiser on Twitter, and because we both found his story and his cause so fascinating, we asked for an interview. So basically what he's wanting to do is draw attention and raise money for youth services during Peroni, because it's being overlooked pretty much. And I know I say this in the interview, so apologies in advance for repeating myself. But I feel like the reason we had to get him on is because before I received that DM on Twitter from his mum, youth services right now is something that I really didn't think about. The fact that you get a lot of people that cite YMCAs and stuff, youth support, for keeping people off the streets and keeping them legal, turning them into better human beings. If you take away the youth services, what do those people do? They go back on the streets and they do God knows what. So I think it's a really it's a hidden problem because no one's talking about it, but it's a really good cause, and that, like I said, that's why we had to talk to him.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. From the fact that I grew up in a place where youth services really did have a strong impact for people on the streets, which is something I talk about in the interview, to working with one of the youth services, just photographing their event, Urban Devotion Birmingham. They are one of the best youth services I've ever seen, and to have the pleasure to photograph their event was amazing. And now, like you said, as much as I felt pride being the photographer for the event, it was something that completely I didn't even think about, because I'm so used to thinking, oh, everyone's just locked up inside, it's fine. But first off, people are still going out on the streets, and these kids that are going out on the streets are the kids that should be in the youth services, but can't, because the youth service can't run. So they're, like you said, they're just going out onto the streets. And
I think what made it a whole lot more real, I'm not sure how to say this in a family friendly way, but I saw on Twitter a few days ago, I don't know if it was number one trending, but it was at the top of the list, trending in United Kingdom, was Smethwick, and it was trending because someone had gotten lethally wounded, shall we say.
You can say it, bro. You can say it.
Yeah, okay, they got stabbed, and there was a video of that was being shown around. So yeah, I think the fact that I think that was after I got the DM, so seeing that just a few days after it happened, it just highlighted the issue even more, really.
I couldn't agree more.
And I'm debating that had lockdown not become a thing, if that would have even happened at all because of the youth services and stuff.
I mean, I watched a documentary the other night. It's a documentary that I've watched a couple of times, and it was just about the crime rate in London. It's from Vice. I think it got released a year ago or a couple of years ago, and it's just looking at that. I thought to myself pretty much the same thing that you just said. Would it still be as apparent right now with the whole lockdown if youth services were available? Or if people were listening to the government and staying inside, it wouldn't necessarily be a problem. But without the youth services there keeping kids off the street, you can't help but think whether it would still be going on.
And I think what you highlighted there just showcased like an even bigger problem about the people that are staying at home. What's going on at home for them? Because not everyone has like a family that loves them or a partner that treats them with respect or anything. So I'm putting myself in their shoes. Maybe it's better for them to be out the house, which really isn't something. It's like a caught between a rock and a hard place. They can either stay in lockdown, in quarantine, at home, but be in like an abusive household, or they can be outside, prone to catching or spreading the virus, or getting up to no good basically. But speaking more about Samren, he's not just some random person that's decided to start a fundraiser. This kid has some serious credentials. He's a member of Youth Parliament. He made a petition for climate change that got 500 signatures in 24 hours, which I think is super impressive.
I think the reason
finally,
sorry.
Finally, he was nominated for the Positive Role Model Award at the National Diversity Awards, and we'd speak about that as well in the interview. Pretty much everything we've said so far we speak about. But it is a really good interview, and I'm sure we'll play it after Charlie says what he has to.
Yeah, I was just going to say the reason behind him getting those signatures, you'll find out in the interview, and I think it's one of the most amazing things that I've heard in ages, to be honest, especially from someone of such young age. I won't give it away because watch the interview and find out why he had to get those signatures, but I was just astounded. But yeah, as Sam said, I think it might be time to roll it.
So yeah, what I'll say before we play the interview is that I think it took Charlie and myself by quite a lot. It surprised us quite a bit that he was so confident and wise beyond his years and well spoken at only 16. So yeah, no, he's gonna do really good things, I think. And if he doesn't win this national diversity award for the positive role model, then I really want to find out who does, because I'm not sure how much better you can do than him right now.
I was just gonna say, bro, do you wanna introduce the video?
Yeah, sure. So I thought you cut out then as I did.
No.
Yeah, so without further ado, please sit back and enjoy our interview with Samren Reddy. Hey guys, welcome to the interview section of the podcast. Today we're joined by Samren Reddy, who is someone that's a member of the UK Youth Parliament. He's the creator of the When I Grow Up initiative, where he's raising money for youth services during these difficult times. And last but not least, he's been nominated for the Positive Role Model at the National Diversity Awards, which is really impressive. So welcome, Sam.
Hello.
So do you want to take it away, Charlie, with the first question?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we've got a set of questions that we just want to ask. My first one, it's a pretty generic question. What do you want to be when you're older?
Okay, so since I was a little boy, I've always wanted to be a doctor. Obviously, I don't know what yet I'd specialise in and make those decisions when it comes to it. But now I've always been interested in science and the human body and the idea of helping others as well. And actually now we hear about the work of the NHS, and it's just inspired me even more to definitely pursue that career path in healthcare, helping others improve their well-being.
That's great. I mean, I've got a number of friends that are training in medicine and training in the healthcare sector, and I think they'd be happy to have more and more young people wanting to join. But Sam, I know you've got the next question.
Yeah, but I thought for that question it'd be nice to just kind of say what we want to be as well, just to go along with the whole When I Grow Up initiative thing. So if you want to go first, Charlie, or me?
Yeah, I don't mind going first.
Cool.
So I'm in my final year at university now, and I've spent the last 3 years studying media and communications and specialising in television. So ideally, after I leave uni, I want to go into some sort of production road, and I think the ultimate goal is to get to director of photography or director either within a production company or as a freelance worker. And I think if I couldn't get there, then another part that really interests me is post production. So I'd love to be a freelance editor. But yeah, it's a tough industry to get into, so I just gotta work my way there. What about you, Sam?
Mine's a much easier industry to get into. I really love like music and stuff. So if I can like become a singer or something like that, that'd be real cool. So like real safe job there. But if I don't get something like that, I'm thinking maybe like, because right now I'm like out of work, like pretty much everyone right now. But I'm interested in like doing an apprenticeship to become like an administrator or something, like a receptionist. But if I go to uni, which will be my third time if I do, because I've dropped out twice, I will most likely go to do something that will get me into like teaching and stuff. Just because I really love the feeling of like helping people understand stuff, and it's real, it's real satisfying. But I feel like it's real smart where if you do have like an unsafe option as something you want to do, just to have that like plan B just in case everything doesn't work out and you're not like left in the dust or anything. So yeah, my question next, and mine, like I said earlier, you're a member of the youth parliament. So I was just curious, really, like when and why you got into politics.
So the youth parliament was something that my school first promoted to us. Like they presented it as an opportunity for us to go into, and I just expressed my interest. I wasn't really sure about what it was. I decided I'll just go for it, and then when I did go for it, I started to meet new people and actually learn how it works. And then I started to get more interested to what's happening in actual politics. That's when I started, watching PMQs that happen in the House of Commons. And so then I started to gain my knowledge through that. And now I then became really passionate about young people actually having a platform where they can voice their opinions and that they can freely express their beliefs, and I've held that passion ever since I started working at the youth parliament.
I think it's something that's like really important for young people, especially because when you're young, like politics can just seem like something boring and like complicated, and then if you don't get into it when you're young, that can like carry over to adulthood, which means that you're just an adult that doesn't really know what's going on with the world. But I saw that you'd spoken about some like real cool things in Parliament, actually, like mental health, curriculum for life, voting at 16. We'll talk a bit more later about your work on climate change. But yeah, some of the stuff you've covered is like super important and real cool.
Yeah, and it's good to see that actually now more and more young people are getting involved. Before it was just something a lot of young people said it's more of an older adult thing, but actually more and more young people are getting passionate, and actually with the MPs as well, they seem to be getting younger in age. So I think that's a overall good direction to see more of the population getting involved in and speaking up for what they believe. I think that's great.
I'm curious if you were interested in politics before your school like gave it as an option, or like if you became interested because it was an option.
Well, I suppose I did try, and I was actually curious. I did try and see, but I didn't really know that much about how it worked or what went on in Parliament before I joined it. So I think joining the youth Parliament was actually a benefit to me as well, actually trying to expand my knowledge in how politics works.
Yeah. Like I said, young people like really need to like try and learn what's going on with politics and everything, because a lot of it like affects them. Some of the stuff I mentioned earlier with like the mental health and the voting at 16, curriculum for life, all of them affect young people. So I think it's really important for them to get into politics. I know I've spoken quite a lot there, Charlie, but you'll have your chance to speak up now.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask like another question that everyone basically gets asked. Who do you idolize, or who do you have as an idol or a role model?
Um, well, it obviously naturally I go well. Obviously, because they helped me a lot in all these campaigns involved, and they've helped me try and like facilitate that and try and be opening those doorways for me. So that's the role models I have in personally in my life. And then also I'm inspired by previously Nelson Mandela, because my family lives in South Africa and they grew up under the apartheid era. So we appreciate the work that Nelson Mandela did in actually liberating, and actually a classic example of someone standing up for what they believe in, despite the overall regime telling him that he couldn't do that, but he did that anyway. So I think it's that key principle that I still believe in now, to stand up for what people believe in. So those are the two sets of people who kind of helped to shape the person that I am today.
Perfect. Could I just ask you to repeat who your first role models were, just because the audio cut out?
Oh, right. So yeah, I'd say my parents.
Yeah.
Because obviously they helped me a lot in these, when I do these campaigns, to help open the doorways to different opportunities and try to tell other people to go on board with the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I know that for myself and for a lot of people, like parents are the first role models people go to. I know that my mom, because I come from like a single parent home, my mom's really supported me in everything, like whether it's been like going to university, looking at jobs, looking at what I want to do for a career. She's always supported me. And Nelson Mandela, like he was an amazing person, and I think he's still a very big role model. And I think it's nice that still younger people still consider him like a role model or an idol, because it just shows that not only are they educating themselves, but they're getting education from some of the most influential people that they weren't alive to see. But yeah, Sam, who do you have as idols or role models?
Oh god, you really hit me with it there.
Yeah.
I think I'd feel a bit shallow if I didn't say my mum,
Yeah.
who's downstairs right now. So she'll appreciate me saying that. She cried at the last podcast, so hopefully I don't make her cry again now. Yeah, no, probably her. Just anyone really that doesn't like have an attitude where like they hold people back. Like, we spoke to the skipping seat last week, and his whole like thing is like, if you can do it, then do it. And I feel like I want to surround myself with people that have that kind of attitude. So yeah, just anyone that sees the world like that, really.
Yeah. See, if I had to pick a role model that wasn't within my family, I think Sam knows it would be Kobe Bryant. Just because of how much he does have that can-do attitude that you mentioned as well, Sam. Like, if he wanted something, he'd go and he'd do it. But I know that you've got the next question as well, don't you?
I do, yeah. So like I said about your work involving like climate change and stuff. So I'm just curious, like, what made you feel like climate change was something you had to take action about, and what action you took?
Well, obviously I've been interested in climate change since we were taught about it in primary school. Obviously it's taught as something that is the fact that it is happening, and obviously we're taught the science behind it. So naturally I started to change things in my own life to try and make sure that my family, my household is reducing our carbon footprint, and so we can have an impact as well as individuals. But then to hear that climate change is an issue that it's still a thing where people believe in or don't believe in, which I found quite strange, because I know a lot of me and a lot of my peers see it as a fact that it's something that is happening and we do have to take action for. And so when I hear about other young people striking to try and raise issues, I thought that is a good idea, because yes, this dialogue, we haven't had this dialogue for a long time, it just hasn't been working. Naturally, I always go for having that open conversation, but it got to a point where I felt like I had to I had to do something bigger to try and make more noise, in that makes sense, to make a bigger statement. And so I decided to use that opportunity to bring that youth climate change movement here to Rugby, my town. So that's why in February 2019 I stood alone outside Rugby Town Hall, holding a green sign that says, "There is no Planet B." So I did that, not really expecting it to get any bigger, but it did actually. And then by September, I was leading over 200 people outside Rugby Town Hall. So I think that climate change is an issue that a lot of people do care about, as millions of people around the world do strike. And it's not just young people anymore. Adults have also joined them as well. And I think as long as there's this relative inaction that governments are taking, there will continue to be climate change strikes until it's something that people are able to see it for what it is, what the facts are.
And I think that's just like a super valuable lesson where like you won't accomplish something if you don't try. So just to like get yourself out there, see what you can do really. Was I right in reading that you got 500 signatures in 24 hours?
Is that originally the school didn't let myself or other students take part in the climate change protest. Obviously, they cited safeguarding reasons. So what I did as an alternative is that I got to try to get people to sign like a petition, so that they're essentially taking part without actually leaving the school to go and protest. If that makes sense. So I decided to collect signatures and actually present it to the local MP to prove that there's a lot of young people who, even though they didn't go out and strike, they still care about the issue. I did end up meeting my local MP and presenting that to him, and we did discuss issues about how to make Rugby, the town, much more eco-friendly, among other things as well. But I think it was an impressive feat that I managed to get 500 signatures in 24 hours. And it just shows, again, how passionate young people are about stopping climate change.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's definitely impressive. And like I've said a bunch, talking to you, like, getting young people involved is real important because they have, like, opinions and things they stand for as well. So, yeah, congrats on that. That's real impressive. So, Charlie, you have the next question, I do believe.
I do, yeah. Climate change is something that I hold pretty dear to my heart. Like, I mean, my final project in university, we were creating a documentary and a social media campaign about being more climate conscious and being more sustainable in Birmingham. And the marches you mentioned, we went on one. We filmed the march in Birmingham, and it was amazing to see so many, like I said, a variety of people. There was young people, there was older people, and it is really nice, as Sam said, that the younger people are getting more of a voice now. My question is, what do you think can be done to combat climate change, or what needs to be done more to help combat climate change?
Well, I think, obviously, first raising awareness, which is what I think the movement has done successfully to an extent, because not long after, you now had the UK government trying to pledge for net zero emissions by 2050. But it's good that the words are being there, but now it's about turning that words into action. It's about actually trying to prioritize, move environmental stuff up the agenda. So individuals should obviously take action. If they do have the choice, they should choose to buy products that are more eco-friendly, or they should look at other options where I understand it might be possible for everyone, given this for different situations, try to look at other transport options, for example. There's that. But I think governments and businesses as well also have to, in a sense, lead the fight against climate change, because I think it's the 100 companies are responsible for 71% of the emissions. So it's really about keeping those companies in check. And I think when people say we vote with our money, I think to an extent that's true. If we choose to move away from companies that are environmentally damaging, then that ideally would encourage the companies that are having a lost revenue to then try and change their ways to be more eco-friendly, to try and bring back their revenue. So I think it's about informing people about the easy, simple ways of being eco-friendly, but also trying to pressure government and businesses on a much larger scale to try and reduce carbon emissions.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. Myself and my team, for our final year uni project, we've looked into such a range of different aspects of how to be more sustainable and how to be more environmentally conscious. Like just simple things. One of the videos we filmed was at a vintage clothing sale just to help combat against fast fashion, and then we were looking into Birmingham's clean air zone, and it is just a shame that a lot of the stuff that was meant to be happening this year, especially in Birmingham, such as like the clean air zone, has had to be postponed due to the circumstances right now. But I'm just happy to see that they're still going ahead and doing it. But I know that Sam has the next question about another topic that you've been speaking about.
I do indeed. So we spoke earlier about the When I Grow Up initiative, and how you want to raise money and like awareness for youth services during these like hard times. So I'm just curious why youth services are something that you care so much about, as to make an initiative for it.
Obviously, as I said before, since I joined Youth Parliament, I've been passionate about young people being supported and young people having that platform to express themselves. And I think a lot of the youth services, there's lots of youth services up and down the country that do help young people, particularly from disadvantaged backgrounds as well, to try and make sure that voices aren't suppressed that they otherwise would have been. And of course, when I hear that in the pandemic, the lockdown has meant they have a shortage of staff, and then funds have been diverted, there's a huge danger that a lot of these youth services won't be able to continue operating once the pandemic is over. So that's why I felt compelled to then start this initiative, because these youth services do need as much support that they can get.
And a big reason why Charlie and I wanted to invite you onto the podcast is because I thought about like youth services right now, and a lot of people like cite youth services as like keeping kids like off the streets and stuff, keeping them like well behaved and everything. So I thought like what do they do now? They can't stay off the streets because there's no one to keep them off the streets, except the government. But something tells me they wouldn't listen to social distancing. But yeah, no, it's just super important right now just to focus on those disadvantaged people and give them something to do just to help them avoid like something they'll regret later on.
I don't think it's any coincidence that over the past since 2010, youth services have gradually had their funding decrease, and then there's been an increase in issues to do with youth. And then some people go around and say that it's the youth's problem, or that it's something that they should be punished for, rather than actually looking at the root causes. And of course, there's many different contributing factors, but I do believe, and I think there is evidence to back this up, the slowly stripping away of the availability of youth services is a big issue. And then with this pandemic, that if they're going to lose even more money, even more staff, it's only going to get worse unless we do take action to support them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Charlie, I believe you've got the next one.
Yeah, before I'll go on to my next question. First off, I'm going to stick my laptop on charge because I've just had a low power warning.
That'd be a nightmare if the recording just stopped.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, youth services is something that I think I've been around quite a bit. I grew up in an area in Birmingham that has got a bit of a bad reputation, and a lot of people from that area that I was friends with, their highlight of their week was just going to the youth club, and it kept them busy, and like Sam said, it kept them from doing something they might otherwise regret in the future. As well, a friend of mine and Sam works for a youth service in Birmingham, and I had the opportunity to take some pictures and do some photography work at one of their events, and it was just amazing to see what they do and how much the funding that they get from not only the government but majority from people, just donations and everything, just helping them continue with the work they're doing. My question to you is, what do you want to be done for the youth services?
So naturally, I think they need to get, part of it is there more funding, of course, and I think it's not just that though. I think that we need to look at how, well, obviously each youth services they can choose how they're run, but I think we do have to look into how can we make them run more efficient in a way. How do they keep staff? How do they make it more of, for example, maybe an attractive place for people to work so they can get more people to help, maintain and run it. As well as that, I think not all youth services are perhaps the best at promoting themselves as well. But I think that's just a side effect of them not having been funded. So I think the main thing is once the funds are back in, they can then look on how they can make themselves work more, and they can promote themselves to more people. So then the effects can then start permeating into the wider community, and then they feel the benefits of that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I do think the points you made and what you said could be done for the youth services would like help them immensely. Sam, I know that you've got the next question.
I do. So I mentioned it at the very start of the interview when I was introducing who you were and like your accolades and stuff. So I was just curious, really, what your whole reaction was to being nominated for the Positive Role Model Award from the National Diversity Awards.
Very, very happy, of course, that I was nominated for such an award. I think, yeah, I was just speechless, I guess. But I think it's good that because that award would be in a way useful because it shows that if I was to hypothetically manage to get that award, and then there's a lot of candidates, but if I was, then I know that it would be good to sort of use that as to show people that it's not impossible to try and achieve what you want to achieve, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm very excited. Hopefully it does get to the point where I do. That's the aim if I do win. But I think even getting shortlisted as well, I think it's a huge honour. So.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right about it being a huge honour. I've not checked out the other competition, but I'm sure Charlie would agree that, like, based upon everything you've told us and what we've learned today, that you competitors, if you want to call them that, have like they're super hard pressed to win right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I know. I can only imagine how much of an honor it must be to, like I said, just get shortlisted. But yeah, same as Sam, really. I'd happily see you win the award. I'd love to see you win the award, honestly. But this section is just a chance for you to promote anything you want. It can be your social media on Twitter or Instagram. It could be any fundraisers that you want promoted as well. Everything you mentioned, if you send us over a list, we'll drop it in the description as well for everyone to look at.
Alright. Okay, so obviously the When I Grow Up campaign, we're asking young people of all backgrounds and ages to post online a message of what they aspire to be like when they grow up. So it could be a profession, or it could be to do with maybe a celebrity that's inspired them, or any role model, even someone that they know in their own community, if they want to be like that person when they grow up. The idea is that they upload a photo or video themselves, either explaining it. Some people who have already taken part, they've had like a poster that have said what they want to be. So they upload that to their relevant social media with the hashtag When I Grow Up, and we do have an Instagram page which is at whenIgrowup.2020, and people can also search for the When I Grow Up initiative on Facebook and on Virgin Money Giving, where if they can, it's not compulsory, but if they do take part, they can donate £2 or more, which will then go towards the youth charities that do support these youth services. it's just a very simple way to show that every young person, despite the lockdown and the feelings of being isolated, that they do have hopes and visions for the future. And at the same time, we raise money for youth services as well. In general, my own Instagram page is Samren_Reddy, and I put most of what I'm doing on there, all the campaigns involved in any sort of initiatives. Obviously, it's a little bit quiet now because we're in lockdown, but you can go through there as well if you want to find out more about me and about what I do. So.
Perfect. So before we carry on, Sam, I just need to press re-record on my camera because it's about to cut out.
Oh yeah, it does this every now and then. It has like a 30-minute recording limit, so it just needs to like reset it. But I think it's a good chance to say like, social media is like a genius way to get young people interested in like speaking up and stuff, because I don't think there's many things that young people are more interested in than posting and, you know, showing their friends all kinds of things, getting famous. I don't know.
I am back, just to let everyone know.
Yeah, I was just telling Sam about how smart it is that he's like used a social media campaign to appeal to young people.
Definitely. This is the whole reason why it was part of my final university project. It's been part of many of the university projects. A social media campaign is something super, super powerful, purely because you can just get such a diverse response from it. Sam is right where he says like it can reach so many young people, but you'd be surprised how many older people do use social media and are competent on social media. And it's just something that's key in today's society in particular. And it can be such a valuable tool. There's hashtags on Instagram, and it tells you how many people are following that hashtag. But there's millions and millions of people following just one hashtag. So everyone that posts using it, their pictures just show up to people that are following it. They don't even have to be following those people's pages. It's something that can be used in such an amazing way. But
it's super simple too.
Exactly. But I know that Sam has the closing part of this.
So something that we really want to do whenever we have a guest on is just really like give them a chance to give advice, or just like give a message, a shout out. I don't know, just giving you the floor basically to say what you want, pretty much.
Okay. I mean, of course, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of young people do listen to this podcast. So I just want to say that, you know, even though in this lockdown there's, you know, I'm very limited in what we're able to do, but I just want to say we are in this together, and there are signs of it ending. Well, I don't know how soon, but it will end. It's only temporary, and as long as we just, you know, we persevere and we pull through, then we'll all come out, you know, having learned something new and be stronger, and hopefully it's an experience to tell to all future generations.
And stay at home. Everyone, stay at home.
Do stay at home.
There's some real good words. You're totally right. Only temporary. Charlie was saying before to the skip and seek as well. It's like a minor sacrifice just to, you know, stay at home, not have the ability to go out. It's for like the greater good, basically. So why not do it?
Well, what I was saying in the last interview is that years and years ago, people were getting shipped off to war, and we're getting told to stay at home. Like it, and both of them were for, in retrospect, like the greater good and to protect everyone. You're getting told to stay at home and watch TV, and like you've said, that there's plenty you can do at home. I've taught myself how to make an animated video on After Effects. Like, I know that there's plenty of stuff to be doing at home to keep yourself busy. So yeah, just stay at home. But I really want to thank you for agreeing and giving us such an insightful interview. I think I speak for myself, Sam, and everyone viewing the podcast, that it's amazing to hear such knowledge from someone of like such a young age. You speak like someone that's had years and years and years of experience in not only life but politics and climate change, and someone that, like I said, I'd happily see win that award, and I'd happily have representing me and my age bracket in Parliament, to be honest with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show as well.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's no problem. I'll just use my opportunity to thank you as well. Charlie's totally right. You've shown a lot of wisdom way beyond your years. And I'm really proud of the fact that for people that are unfamiliar with you, we've had a really good chance to get you out there, show them what you're all about, raise an issue that before this interview, even I wasn't aware of with the youth services. So, yeah, I'm just really glad that we get to bring you and what you're all about to people's attention, basically.
Yeah, but yeah, again, thank you so much. Stay safe, and big good luck for the award, honestly.
Very much.
So yeah, that was the interview, and I'm still, like you said before we started it, in shock of how wise someone can be at such a young age. Like, I thought I was pretty mature for my age when I was 15, 16, but that was just wow.
See, and that's the thing, when we look back now, at the time when we were 16, we're like, oh yeah, we've got it figured out. But now when we look back, we're like, damn, we were idiots. And you think you know a lot, but Samren actually does. He like I said, he's got wisdom beyond his years, and it's just super admirable. And I think that we spoke a lot in the interview about how young people should get into politics and stuff, and how it's really good for them. But I think you should also look up to someone like him, because he's doing really good things. And I don't a consistent thing between this interview and our last interview is that you shouldn't really let age stop you doing things you want to do. Like I said last episode, if you can do it, then do it. And I think that's something that we're, either both the people we spoke to are really trying to push.
I couldn't agree more. I feel like a lot of people, I do think it's a lot of young people, they're in this mindset where they think one person isn't enough, and they think, me just doing it by myself isn't going to make a change, but it does. It just does, no matter what you're doing, whether it's, not eating meat, petitioning for climate change, even something silly as you being the only person in your house to recycle. If no one else wants to recycle, but you're making sure everything that you have, you eat, you use, you recycle, even though it might not feel like it, one person is enough to make a change from it. And I think if more people had the mindset of one person can make a change, then it wouldn't just be one person doing it. And like Sam said, and I couldn't agree more, I think it's a nice little motto and philosophy for the podcast. If you can do it, do it, as long as it's legal.
Yeah, I was about to say that. So it's morally good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, really good interview, I think. And like I said, it took us by surprise how confident he was, and how well he answered the questions. Because I said this to him afterwards, but the skipping Sikh had been interviewed before, he'd been on TV and stuff, so he'd had experience. But I'm not sure how much experience Sam had been interviewed. But if it was his first one, God, he knocked it out of the park.
I'll tell you what was funny. It was saying Sam, I'm thinking, I hope not both of them respond when I say that. I'm just like, Sam, and I get 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's got a good name. Sam's represents, Sam's Unite. This is the Wakanda sign. But yeah, no, really good interview, like I said. But I think that's everything we have to talk about. We'll put all of Samren's links in the description, including our own, which we will talk about right now. So I'll start
was
us
just
off
gonna-
like I always do.
I was just gonna talk about one little topic that I've just thought
Sure.
about. I know it's just a bit of a random one, but did you see that Little Pump tried to slide into Billie Eilish's DMs?
Ooh.
Well, I say DMs. Basically, she was on Instagram Live, playing the piano and singing, and Little Pump messaged on the live saying something like, "You're the love of my life," and another one saying, "Let me wife you and let me take you on a date," and she responded by laughing and saying something like, I'll tell you what I'm laughing about. Just no way, man. No way." And I was just like, ooh.
Yeah,
Ouch.
little Pump's not
Ugh.
good.
I was just thinking, like, imagine, like... Because obviously, he's a famous guy.
Mhm.
But imagine just having someone laugh at you and being like, no way, on Instagram Live. I think she had something stupid like 150,000 or 250,000 people watching her. Just watching her laugh at this guy asking to wife her.
Gosh.
I
Embarrassing.
had to bring it up. It's something I was about to chat about earlier. I was just like, yeah, I can bring that up in the podcast.
But yeah, like I said, social media time. But first, if you've made it this far in the episode, and we thank you for doing so, we would really appreciate it if you gave us a subscribe, just so you can catch future episodes, future videos if we make things other than podcasts. And I will go through our social medias now. So the first one for the podcast, Instagram, at Samren the Teacup Podcast. Twitter, it's SIAT Pod. I think that's the only ones we have. We've got Patreon. That is patreon.com/StormTheTeacup, where you don't have to donate. But if you want to, then please do.
You'll be a friend of the Storm in a Teacup podcast.
More so than you are already,
Yeah.
of course.
Best friend.
What
Best
else?
friend of the Storm in a Teacup podcast.
My links. Instagram, I'm at Samrens Official. At Twitter, I'm at symbol ATSAMTREHARNE. So at Samrens, because I'm smart like that. And those are the only ones that I have. So it's your turn now, Charles.
I was just thinking when you said your Twitter. One thing we got. Well, I say we. One thing I got taught. I went to a talk at the BBC about like social media and social media marketing, and about like putting yourself out there, especially as a freelancer. And they were like, make sure that your website, your Twitter, your Instagram, any links, they're as simple as possible. Avoid underscores. Avoid weird spellings of stuff, even if it's just your name. I'm just thinking about you going to like conferences and being like, oh yeah, my Twitter's at Samrens. And people.
Well, I don't use Twitter anyway, so
like I can just imagine like
still follow me, but
the chief exec of ITV just being like at Samrens what? But yeah.
Well, Sam Trahan was taken, and Samuel Trahan was taken, so and like Sam Trahan Official was too long, so yeah, I kind of had to settle.
My social media, so my Instagram, and I'll get it right this week. My Instagram, my personal one is CharlieMCM20. My visuals account, which I urge you to follow because it's top notch, and I will be uploading some more soon, is Visuals by Charlie. My Twitter is Charlie_MCM, and my website will be in the link below. Go have a look at some of the work I've done. It's top notch stuff, if I do say so myself. And if you want an editor, DOP, director, hit me up on the website. Slide into the DMs, just be like, got a project, let me help you out. But yeah, that's it for my socials. I have a question for you before we finish the podcast. You mentioned last week about liking music and wanting to get into music.
And in the interview.
Yeah. SoundCloud and SoundCloud musicians / SoundCloud rappers. Where do you stand on that?
Go for it. It's an outlet. It's somewhere to upload it to, so why not?
Is it something you'd do?
Oh, I'd just upload it where I can. But we've spoken about before with SoundCloud, you have like a 2-hour limit, I think, on content.
Yeah.
So I'd upload as much as I could. But yeah, I think that's the episode.
Yeah.
Not quite as long today.
Hopefully.
I think I'm thankful for that, because 2 hours I know is a long time to sit through. So hopefully we've made it a bit easier this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, Charlie and I will speak to you whenever.
Speak to you whenever.
And goodbye.
Bye. 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 Bye.